Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into some truly fascinating material you shared, really exploring some pretty radical ideas about reality itself, consciousness, and, well, how we create our experience.
Yeah, it's definitely mind-bending stuff.
At its core, this source presents a concept that really flips our usual perspective. It suggests that the world you experience isn't just something happening to you.
Right, but something that's happening from you. That's the key shift.
Okay.
It posits that your consciousness isn't just, a passive observer watching the world go by. It's the only reality.
The only reality, wow.
Yeah, and that your imagination, it's not just daydreaming or fantasy. It's presented as the actual substance of life itself, like the fundamental creative power.
Okay, that's huge. So our mission for this deep dive is to really unpack these profound concepts.
Exactly. We want to understand what the source actually means by effortless manifestation.
Right, what does that really look like? And explore how these potentially world-altering ideas might connect to, your everyday experience.
Think of us as guides, sort of navigating the map of your source material together.
Okay, let's unpack this. The source begins by laying down what it considers the foundational truth. And it states, and I'm quoting here, "In the beginning was the unconditioned awareness of being."
This awareness, this I am, is God.
Right.
So the starting point is pure awareness, that simple, unconditioned sense of just being, I am. Before you attach any labels or conditions to it, I am happy, I am tired, I am whatever.
Just the basic I amness.
Exactly. This fundamental I am identifies as your true self, the singular source of everything.
Okay, so that core unconditioned awareness is the foundation. Everything else, conditions, states, manifestations, they all spring from this one source.
Precisely. Everything that appears in what we perceive as the outer world is seen as just, emanating from this core awareness. And the source goes further. It explicitly connects the word, which it equates with consciousness, awareness, this I am, directly with God, the creative principle itself.
Okay. Building on that powerful idea, the source delivers another seemingly simple yet, profound truth. Imagination creates reality.
And this follows directly from the first point, doesn't it? If consciousness is the only reality,
then the outer world isn't the real deal.
Yeah, well, it's real in a sense, but it's not the primary cause. It's more like a reflection. A shadow, maybe?
Yeah.
A picture of our inner assumptions, the states we hold within that consciousness.
And it's not just about making things up in your head, right? The source is really clear that imagination is the very substance of life itself.
The eternal body of man, which is God. It's saying that imagination isn't something you do separately from yourself. It's what you are, fundamentally.
Wow. Okay.
And because your imagination is this divine creative substance, the source states that everything in your world is essentially yourself pushed out.
Myself pushed out. What does that mean practically?
It means the people you encounter, the circumstances, the conditions you experience, they're all reflections of your own inner state, your consciousness.
Okay, so if everything is me pushed out, what's the takeaway? How does this change things?
It means that when you change your consciousness, the concept you hold of yourself, the fundamental state you occupy inwardly, your outer world must change to reflect that new inner state. The outer is simply mirroring the inner. It has no choice, according to this.
And this leads us right into the idea of effortless manifestation, which the source presents this not as some magical waving of a wand where things just appear out of thin air without any action.
No, definitely not. It defines it as understanding this fundamental law of creation we just talked about.
Okay.
It challenges our usual way of thinking, what it calls backward thinking.
Yeah.
We typically feel a desire,
Right.
And then we think, okay, I need to go get this thing out there in the external world.
Yeah, that feels pretty natural, doesn't it? You see something you want, you go after it.
Exactly. But the source suggests that when we say, I want this or I need that, we're actually affirming its absence. We're stating it's outside of us, something we lack.
Interesting point.
But it points to Scripture, like the kingdom of heaven is within you. Interpreting this to mean everything you could possibly desire already exists, right here, within your consciousness, in that infinite awareness.
So the desire itself isn't something separate to be acquired from outside?
No, it's already within you, seeking expression, part of your potential.
Okay, so your work isn't to create the desire.
It's already part of that infinite potential within. Your work is to bring it into expression, into the outer physical world.
Okay, but how? If it's not about striving or chasing in the usual sense, how do you bring it into expression?
By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Assuming the feeling.
Yeah, you enter the state of consciousness where your desire is already a reality right now. You identify with the feeling of already having or being what you desire.
And this isn't just like wishful thinking or playing make-believe.
The source is clear.
Yeah.
This is presented as understanding the true nature of reality itself. It's a fundamental principle. What you are conscious of being, you are. Period.
Okay, so if I want to be successful, I need to focus on being conscious of being successful now, not trying to get success.
Exactly. If you desire wealth, be conscious of being wealthy. If you desire love, be conscious of being loved. Because consciousness is the only reality. If you can truly assume any state and dwell in it, that state will become your objective reality. This is described as the mystic marriage of feeling and consciousness that gives birth to new life experiences.
The source offers that great little example, right? The man who wanted to travel but had no money.
Yeah, instead of trying to earn the money or find some cheap deal, he simply assumed the feeling of traveling.
How did he do that?
He'd imagined the sights, the sounds, maybe the smells of his desired destination. He'd fall asleep, completely immersed in that consciousness, that feeling of being there. And within a month, apparently without any struggle or direct effort to find funds, an unexpected opportunity just arose. It allowed him to travel exactly as he'd imagined. But the source emphasizes his imaginal act didn't, magically create the opportunity from nothing.
Right.
It revealed the one that was already there, waiting to be expressed. By changing his consciousness, he aligned himself with the reality, the potential, where that trip was already possible for him.
So effortless manifestation isn't passive laziness. It's active inner work. It's allowing things to happen by getting the inner state right first, aligning your consciousness with the reality of your desire.
And then the outer world conforms.
Yeah.
That's the core idea.
Oh.
And the power behind this is directly linked back to that I am.
Okay.
Whatever you attach to I am, whether it's I am poor, I am sick, I am unlucky, or, the opposite, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am blessed, that is what is created in your experience.
So the creative power itself doesn't judge.
No judgment. It simply creates, according to your assumption, whatever you assume yourself to be.
This reminds me of that saying, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
The source interprets that perfectly. It's not just shallow thought, right? It's the deeper thinking in the heart, which means your thoughts, your feelings, your fundamental assumptions, these are what shape your reality.
And crucially, it's not just the idea or the intellectual thought alone that creates.
Exactly. But the feeling, the conviction, the deep consciousness of being. This is why simple mental tricks or, surface level affirmations often fail.
Because they don't go deep enough.
They stay in the intellect. They don't penetrate the depths of consciousness where true creation occurs, according to this view.
Okay, so to manifest effortlessly, the key is to go beyond just thinking about it. You have to move into the realm of feeling and being.
Yes. Identify so completely with the state you desire that you feel yourself to be in it now.
You feel it now.
Exactly. The source gives that simple experiment. Close your eyes and imagine holding an apple.
Okay.
Don't just think apple. See it in your mind's eye. Feel its weight, its texture. Maybe smell it. Imagine the sound of biting into it, the taste.
Get all the senses involved.
Yes. If you do this with real feeling and conviction, you've created an apple in your consciousness. And the outer manifestation, in this simple case, is the sensory experience you just had.
And you apply that same principle to bigger desires, a new home, a loving relationship, vibrant health.
You dwell in those feelings.
Right.
You live from those states of consciousness. And that inner state creates the conditions for their outer expression, allowing them to manifest, effortlessly.
It's a fundamental shift in understanding cause and effect then.
Totally. It's not that doing loving things causes love to come to you.
Right.
Being loving is the state of consciousness from which acts of love naturally flow. Being generous is the state from which abundance effortlessly expresses itself in your life.
So the key is really in the being, not the doing to get something.
That's the core message. Any actions that follow will be inspired, effortless actions that flow naturally from who you are in consciousness.
Not actions you take because you feel you lack something.
Precisely. Rather than actions you take to get something you feel you lack.
The source uses that beautiful analogy, right, from scripture about the lilies of the field.
Yeah, which toil not, neither do they spin, yet are arrayed in glory. A lily doesn't strive to be a lily. It simply is a lily.
It just is.
And its inherent nature unfolds effortlessly, expressing its full potential. So too with you. Assume you are what you desire to be, and allow your nature, your divine potential, to unfold accordingly.
And this is presented as the law of assumption, the key to effortless manifestation.
That's it.
Okay, beyond this core concept, the source delves into several supporting principles or laws that operate within this framework. First is the law of identical harvest.
Right. This principle states that you reap exactly what you sow, but not in the physical field.
In the field of consciousness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you sow the consciousness of lack, you reap lack. If you sow the consciousness of abundance, you reap abundance.
Which really highlights how crucial it is to, well, guard your mind, doesn't it? Your thoughts, feelings, the states you habitually occupy are the seeds.
The seeds that grow into the conditions and circumstances of your life. And this law is presented as totally impersonal. It works for everyone, always.
Okay.
But here's the profound freedom. You are free to choose what seeds you plant, what state of consciousness you will occupy. This freedom is presented as your divine inheritance.
Okay, but sometimes thoughts and feelings just seem to pop up, unbidden. The source insists you can choose them and direct your feelings.
Yes, it acknowledges it takes practice, it takes discipline, but conscious direction of your consciousness, deliberately choosing your state, is presented as absolutely key to working with this law effectively.
Got it. Practice and discipline. Next, the source discusses detachment. My immediate thought goes to, not caring.
Yeah, that's a common interpretation, but it's defined differently here. It's not indifference or pretending you don't want something. It's freedom from the anxiety.
Ah.
Freedom from the fear, the doubt that often come up when you're waiting for a manifestation to appear in the outer world.
Okay, freedom from anxiety, not a lack of desire. How do you get that feeling of detachment then?
True detachment in this context comes from being so completely convinced of the reality of your desire in consciousness.
That you don't need to see it outside.
Exactly. You no longer need outer confirmation. You know it is yours because you are living from that state inwardly. And that knowing brings a deep peace and certainty that needs no outward validation. Dwelling in this state, this conviction, until it feels utterly natural, is what leads to the effortless outer manifestation.
Interesting. So the detachment comes after the inner conviction, not before you even have the desire.
Precisely. Then there's the law of reversibility, which is interesting. Just as inner states create outer reality, the source suggests outer actions and environments can influence inner states.
Ah, kind of using the physical world to help shift the inner, like fake it till you make it, but maybe deeper?
Sort of, yeah. If you find it challenging to assume the feeling purely through imagination or inner work alone, you can use physical actions or your environment to help induce that feeling.
Like what?
Like dress, walk, and speak as the person who already has what you desire. Surround yourself with symbols that represent that state. Act generously if you seek abundance. Use the outer to reinforce the inner.
And these external actions are aids to assuming the desired consciousness.
But not the cause of the manifestation itself.
Right. That's the crucial distinction the source makes. The key is always the consciousness, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The outer actions are simply tools to help you occupy that inner state more convincingly.
Makes sense.
Another significant point addresses something many people wonder about, the role of others. What about desires that involve other people? Does it depend on their free will? That seems like a big hurdle.
Yeah, the source calls the belief that it depends on their free will a fundamental misunderstanding.
Really?
This is based on the idea that there are fundamentally no others. Only one consciousness, the I am, expressing itself through seemingly separate beings.
Okay, that's a pretty radical idea to wrap your head around. So how does my relationship with others fit into this one consciousness?
Your experience of others is presented as a direct reflection of your own consciousness. The source states you literally cannot experience in another person what you don't first find or embody in yourself.
So if I want love or respect?
You must first find and embody those qualities within yourself. Assume the state of being loved, being respected.
So trying to change others is futile, pointless.
According to this source, yes, it's deemed futile to try and manipulate or change others directly. The power lies entirely in changing yourself, changing your inner state.
And then my experience of them just automatically changes.
To reflect your new consciousness. The key is to assume the feeling of the desired relationship, the love, the respect flowing now in the outer person, because they are, in a sense, yourself pushed out, conforms to your inner assumption.
Okay, that puts a lot of responsibility back on the individual, doesn't it?
Immense responsibility, but also immense power. The law of attention is also highlighted. What you give your attention to grows. It expands in your experience.
Where attention goes, energy flows. That old chestnut.
Exactly. If you focus on problems, they tend to multiply. If you focus on solutions, they materialize. Focus on lack, it increases. Focus on abundance, it flourishes. Your focused attention is the directing force of your creative power.
So the directive is simple. Place your attention squarely on the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Yes, and importantly, be consistent. Divided attention, visualizing for a minute, then worrying for hours creates conflicting manifestations. Consistent, focused attention on the desired feeling, the desired state is key.
Gratitude is also presented as a powerful creative force, not just a nice feeling to have.
Absolutely. Expressing gratitude affirms presence. It focuses your attention on having, not wanting, and what you focus on expands.
Right.
The source specifically suggests expressing heartfelt gratitude for your desires before they manifest outwardly.
Before, why?
Because it signals fulfillment to your subconscious mind, the creative power within. It says, this is done, this is real.
So you thank for what is, and you also thank for what you desire as if it already is.
Precisely. This shifts your energy and consciousness from lack to abundance. It aligns you with the reality of your desire, making manifestation feel natural. Heartfelt gratitude for fulfilled desires, even before they appear, is said to manifest them quicker and more beautifully.
Gratitude is framed as the feeling of the wish fulfilled itself, the emotional signature of completion.
Exactly.
What about resistance? That seems like a big one. Doubt, fear, limiting beliefs, those feel like huge roadblocks sometimes.
Yeah, the source identifies these as the friction, the stuff that hinders effortless manifestation. Overcoming resistance is described not as fighting these feelings head on.
Which often makes them stronger.
Right, but through surrender, letting go of needing to know or control the how, the specific way your desire will manifest, and simply trusting in the reality of your desire already existing in consciousness.
So the struggle itself is the resistance, trying too hard.
Often, yes. Struggle stems from a misunderstanding of your role. You are not the doer making things happen in the outer world by force. You are the observer, the consciousness that assumes the state from which desires naturally flow.
Yeah.
Your real work is in the inner world of cause, not the outer world of effect. Shifting from this perceived doing or forcing to simply being the desired state removes resistance. It aligns you with the natural creative flow.
This connects directly to the law of least effort, doesn't it? The source knows how nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease.
Yeah, exactly. When we struggle, force, or try to control outcomes, we're actually working against that natural intelligence. We're creating resistance.
But aligning with it.
It allows desires to manifest naturally, as the universe, which is just your out consciousness, is already conspiring in your favor once your inner state is aligned.
The core idea here feels simple but profound. Get the inner right, and the outer just falls naturally into place.
Exactly. And this doesn't mean no action ever happens, but action flows naturally from the correct inner state. It's inspired action, effortless action.
So action in this context is about expressing what has already been created and accepted in consciousness.
Yes. Not action taken to create something you feel you lack. Create first in consciousness, then allow outer action to express that inner creation.
Let's talk about timing, because that's a huge one for many people. Impatience. Worry when manifestation takes time.
Oh yeah, definitely. Many people want instant results, right? And they get anxious or fall into doubt when the outer world doesn't immediately reflect their inner shift.
So what does the source say about that? Does manifestation have its own timing?
It suggests it does have its own timing, but it's based on the readiness of your consciousness, how natural your assumption feels to you. Inner conflict or resistance can definitely affect this timing. Some things might manifest quickly, others take longer, depending on how deeply ingrained the old state is.
So how do you deal with that perceived delay without falling back into doubt?
The key the source gives is living in the end.
Living in the end.
Yeah, immersing yourself so completely in the feeling of the wish fulfilled now that you actually lose the sense of waiting or wanting. You are simply in the state of having it.
That sounds like patience, but maybe a different kind of patience.
Exactly. It's described as patience that isn't just, enduring the waiting period. It's transcending the waiting altogether by living fully in the end state. So the concept of waiting just dissolves. You've already arrived inwardly.
Now, it's interesting because the source material you brought also includes another powerful perspective on timing, one rooted more explicitly in faith and divine purpose. Uses different language, different examples.
Right. This perspective speaks of God's plan for your life, emphasizing it's one of hope, purpose, and divine timing, not confusion or fear. It offers the reassurance that, God is never late. His timing is always perfect.
And it suggests that perceived delays, maybe closed doors or unexpected turns, aren't really roadblocks.
No, they're seen as part of a larger divine plan, leading you closer to a destiny, even when it doesn't look like it. It even cites scripture like Jeremiah 29:11 about plans for hope and a future.
The challenge from this viewpoint is our human impatience, right?
Yeah.
Wanting things on our timeline.
Exactly. But this perspective suggests that just because you don't see movement doesn't mean that divine intelligence isn't working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, opening doors you can't see yet.
It uses those powerful biblical stories to illustrate this, like Joseph. He had the dream, but then faced years of setbacks. The pit, slavery, prison.
Yeah, it looked like nothing was happening, or worse. But from this perspective, God was setting him up, positioning him. The obstacles were actually stepping stones in disguise. So the message is, even when things seem slow or confusing, trust that a higher plan is at work, preparing you for what's coming. You don't have to force things. Divine ways are higher, and the blessing is presented as being worth the wait. This waiting season is seen as crucial preparation, growing faith, building character.
Delays can even be seen as divine protections, keeping you from something not meant for you, where maybe one day you'll look back and see the wisdom in it.
Right. So instead of discouragement, the encouragement is to thank the divine because it is in control and knows best. Like Abraham and Sarah, who waited, tried to force things, which led to frustration, but the promise came when they surrendered to the timing.
It's about trusting this perfect timing, which brings peace and removes anxiety. Keep believing, stand in faith in the unfolding plan.
Exactly. The waiting season is preparation, growth, and positioning for what's next. Some sources even say the moments of waiting are when God is working most behind the scenes. Like David, anointed king but waited years, facing challenges, proving faithfulness. He trusted God's timing.
So don't focus on what hasn't happened yet. Delay isn't denial. It might be a divine setup for something greater.
Or maybe you need that time for preparation. Like the farmer trusts the harvest is coming even without signs. God might be growing something in you beneath the surface.
So when you bring these perspectives on timing together, one emphasizes our inner state's readiness and resistance influencing the timing.
And the other emphasizes a larger divine unfolding and preparation, maybe independent of our immediate state.
But both seem to call for a form of patience and trust, right? Just framed differently. Both say struggling and forcing are counterproductive.
Exactly. Inner alignment or deep trust is key, regardless of the framework you prefer.
Okay. Shifting gears slightly, the source also talks powerfully about leaving the past behind, describing our usual perception of linear time as, well, a delusion.
That's right. In this perspective, true power resides only in the eternal now. Your past, with all its events, good and bad, exists only in your imagination, in your memories.
And those memories only have power over you now if you keep giving them energy, by replaying them emotionally or identifying with them.
Precisely. You are presented not as a victim of history, but as the creator of your now. Every single moment is a fresh chance to choose, to reimagine.
And the key to leaving the past behind isn't necessarily forgetting it, but using imagination to reinterpret it for your highest good, through that process called revision.
It's exactly. Imagine your past, like a play you can rewrite. You can assign new meanings to events, extract wisdom from challenges, and deliberately release old narratives that no longer serve you.
Does that change what actually happened?
Not in a historical sense, no, but it changes your perception and feeling about it now. And since the present is built on your interpretation of the past, changing that interpretation shifts your present reality.
So moving on isn't running away, but standing in your power now as the creator.
Precisely. Standing in your power as the operant power in your life. Declaring, maybe just to yourself, I am not bound by what was, I am free to create what will be. It's letting go of needing external justification or closure. Realizing true closure comes from within, from claiming your wholeness now.
And what about those old patterns and habits that feel like they just keep pulling you back? They feel pretty real.
Expect that resistance. It's natural. But the source says, no, they're just old states of consciousness, habits of thought and feeling. You can consciously step out of them. Observe them with a bit of detachment, acknowledge they were part of the journey, maybe thank them for any lessons learned, and then gently set them aside. You're not rejecting your past, just choosing not to let it define or confine your present and future.
So letting go is a continuous choice then, not a one-time thing.
Yes, absolutely. Releasing what doesn't serve and inviting the possibilities of the now. As you do this, your energy shifts, The weight of the past lifts, and you become more fully present. And this presence is absolutely key,
Why is presence so key?
because you access your creative power in the now. The only moment that truly exists and matters for creation, according to this.
So true movement isn't always physical. It's movement in consciousness first.
Exactly. Change your inner world, your state of being in the now, and the outer world must reflect it. Your desired state is like a frequency, right? To tune into it, you must release attachment to lower frequencies, past regrets, hurts, limiting beliefs.
And this release is like transcendence.
Yeah, rising above old stories and beliefs that kept you tethered.
And as you practice this, those emotionally charged memories, they lose their grip. They don't sting as much.
Yes, ideally they lose their emotional charge. They become more like neutral data points that contributed to your growth but no longer define who you are now. The Source presents this as true forgiveness.
Forgiveness of the past.
Not necessarily condoning past events, but a complete release of the past on an energetic level, recognizing that in the eternal now, your power resides in the choice of your present state. From that perspective, maybe there's nothing to forgive, only choices to make now.
So the lessons are valuable, but the power of the past is in the meaning we assign it, not the event itself.
That's it entirely. You shift consciousness to extract the wisdom without the emotional baggage. It's the alchemy of consciousness, turning the lead of past difficulties into the gold of wisdom and strength. The goal isn't to erase the past, but to transform your relationship with it, seeing it as the rich soil from which your new life can grow.
And this changes your perception of time itself, makes it feel less linear.
Yes, potentially. Past, present, and future can seem to collapse into the eternal now, where all things are possible. You no longer need to push against the past or struggle to get somewhere in the future. Movement happens naturally as your inner state shifts.
Like seeing life as a tapestry.
Exactly. Stepping back allows you to see the larger pattern, recognizing every thread, every experience contributed to the whole you are now. From this perspective, there's nothing to regret, fear, or overcome. Only recognition and the excitement of weaving new patterns going forward.
That perspective shift sounds like true freedom, really liberating.
It is presented that way. Your energy shifts from reliving the past or worrying about the future to actively creating in the present. Creative energy flows through you, and releasing past attachment opens you fully to this flow.
Like a river dammed up by old beliefs.
Letting go breaks the dam, and the vulnerability in that release is actually a strength, a door for a new way of being.
Asking, who am I without my past, becomes an exciting question then, not a scary one.
Exactly. You stand at the threshold of infinite possibilities, choosing to define yourself by your present choice of state, not by the memory of what has been. The essence of leaving the past behind is embracing this new way of being, living from the wish fulfilled in the now.
And how does living from this perspective change your day-to-day experience of reality? Does the world feel different?
As you practice this, your perception of reality can shift profoundly. The seemingly solid, unchanging outer world might start to feel more fluid, more responsive to your consciousness.
Because the world reflects your state.
Change your state, and your world changes with you. It's presented as a profound responsibility, yes, but also immense power and freedom. The desire to fix the past just falls away. There's nothing to fix from the perspective of the eternal now and your choice of state.
You don't forget the past, but you see it differently.
Yes, through new eyes. As a perfect unfolding, perhaps, that led to this moment of awakening, every experience was a stepping stone, even the difficult ones.
And gratitude arises naturally for all those experiences, even the tough stuff.
Potentially, yes. Gratitude for all the experiences that shaped you can become a natural state. And gratitude, as we discussed, is a powerful creative force itself, aligning you with abundance.
The goal isn't to never think of the past again, then. That seems impossible.
No, it's more about reaching a state where past thoughts don't have the emotional charge to pull you from your chosen state in the now. Memories become like movie scenes you can observe with detachment, without getting sucked back into the drama.
Detachment as higher engagement.
Yes, being fully present without being consumed by the past. Mastering this conscious detachment allows you to engage fully with life as it is unfolding now.
And this fundamentally shifts your sense of identity, who you think you are.
Absolutely. You're no longer defined primarily by your past experiences, accomplishments, limitations, or even your personality, but by the awareness in which those experiences arise.
That shift is profound, realizing you are consciousness itself.
It is. This expanded awareness allows for conscious choice of thoughts, emotions, and states, which is the true free will the Source discusses. And as you exercise this power, your outer world shifts to match your inner state. That's the law of assumption in action again.
Manifestation might not always be instant, like flipping a switch. It's more like a seed growing, right?
Yeah.
Requires some faith during the process.
Yes. You maintain faith in your divine nature, your consciousness, as the creating power. This faith isn't blind belief, though. It grows from experience, from noticing the small manifestations, the synchronicities, as confirmations of your inner shifts.
So the small successes build faith for bigger ones.
Exactly. As faith grows, letting go of the past becomes more effortless. When you're deeply immersed in the wish-fulfilled state, there's simply no room for doubt, regret, or attachment to past limitations. Old habits, relationships, circumstances that don't align naturally start to fall away as you occupy a new frequency.
So the whole approach to life shifts from pushing and striving
To allowing and flowing. In an aligned state, life tends to flow more effortlessly, opportunities appear, synchronicities abound. This ease comes from inspired action flowing naturally from a state of being, not forced effort.
Your goals might even shift as you align more deeply with your true self.
For sure. You might discover new passions and talents that were always there, just waiting for you to embody the state where they could express. Each moment becomes a potential rebirth.
The past doesn't determine your future unless you choose to carry it into the present.
That's the core message. The invitation is to make the declaration, I am free, and claim your divine birthright as a creator in the now. The universe is described as conspiring to support you in this.
Challenges become opportunities.
Opportunities to practice this new way of being, to reaffirm your chosen state in the face of old patterns or appearances. Persistence in assuming the desired state leads to effortless expression in the outer. Mastering consciousness is presented as mastering your destiny.
So claim this inheritance by shifting attention to what you are creating now, rather than dwelling on what was.
Yes, the past only has the power you give it. Choose to focus your attention, your creative energy, on the infinite possibilities of the now.
The source then takes an even deeper dive into identity itself, stating that the you typically believe yourself to be, that collection of memories, limitations, personality quirks, is just a shadow.
A shadow of your true self. You are not the sum of your past or the opinions others hold of you. You are infinite consciousness in human form, temporarily focused into this experience.
And my current circumstances, my life state right now, are just reflections of past assumptions I accepted as true.
Exactly. Every aspect of your life reflects thoughts and beliefs you've accepted as true about yourself and the world. But crucially, you're not bound by these unless you choose to continue identifying with them. Think about how often we cling to fleeting thoughts like I am poor or I'm not good enough. We treat them as fixed facts about our being.
When they're just transient beliefs or states we've occupied.
Precisely. So who are you then if you're not your thoughts or experiences?
The awareness behind them.
You are the awareness behind them. This awareness, the simple I am presence you feel before any qualification, is your true self, boundless, eternal, infinite. The source asks, who is the I that is thinking or experiencing? It points to something prior to the thoughts, the true you.
And the practice is to consciously identify with this pure I.
Yes, rather than the ever-changing contents of your mind or the circumstances of your life.
And this I is connected to the divine, to God.
Yes, the source states this I is the substance of God. It quotes, I and my Father are one. The I am you feel within is the same I am that, in this view, spoke the universe into being. So every time you say I am, followed by something I am tired, I am worried, or I am confident, I am blessed, you are, in this view, invoking the name of God, the creative power. You're commanding the universe to manifest that state.
That's a powerful and perhaps intimidating thought, that much responsibility.
It can feel that way, absolutely.
What?
But the source emphasizes the glorious flip side. When you consciously declare, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, I am blessed, you are setting that same divine creative power in motion according to that assumption.
So I am not what I think I am on the surface, but what I believe myself to be at the deepest level, my core assumption about myself.
Yes, your fundamental self-concept. And crucially, this core belief or assumption can be consciously changed. The invitation is to choose a new concept of self, one aligning it with your divine nature and live from that state.
And the power of revision comes in here again to help change that core belief.
Absolutely. Because the subconscious mind, the creative power, doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and an outer, physical one.
So you can rewrite the past in imagination.
You can go back in imagination and replay past events, rewriting the script to align with your desired reality or self-concept now. Revise an argument by imagining it ending in love and understanding, and feel the harmony now.
And this changes the present.
It changes your inner state now, which then influences the present and future. It's presented as recognizing the fluid nature of time and the malleable nature of reality. Since time is seen as an illusion and all moments exist in the eternal now, changing your concept of the past can alter the substance of your present and future experience.
What about people who say, look, I tried positive thinking, affirmations, and nothing really changed?
Yeah, the source addresses this directly. Positive thinking alone often isn't enough because it stays on the surface in the intellect. It requires a state shift.
A shift in being.
Yes. You have to go beyond thinking about the desired state and actually become the person you would be in imagination first. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live as if the desire is already a fact. That's how you align with the creative forces at that deeper level.
Imagination, animated by feeling, is the substance.
The substance of reality, the God-given power within you to create.
So going back to that financial abundance example, it's not just thinking, I want money, or affirming, I am rich.
No, it's assuming the state of already being wealthy. Feel how that version of you would walk, talk, think, make decisions. Live from that state inwardly and persist. Then the outer world reshapes to conform.
And practical action, does that just happen?
It follows naturally from this state. It's inspired action. Opportunities appear effortlessly because you are now vibrating at the frequency of having, not lacking.
The source also redefines the nature of desires themselves. They're not separate things out there to chase.
No, they're presented more like the voice of God, the infinite within, calling you to express your true nature more fully. A burning desire is seen as a preview of coming attractions, your higher self guiding you towards greater expression.
So the desire itself is proof it's possible.
Yes, the very presence of a desire is proof of its possibility within that infinite field of potential. This understanding is meant to liberate you from anxious pursuit. You can rest in the calm assurance that what you desire, in a sense, desires you too. It wants to be expressed through you.
So your work is just to align your consciousness with having already received it.
Exactly. Rest in that knowing.
And world conditions, all the stuff happening out there, despite seeming so solid and independent, that's also part of this reflection.
Yes. The outer world is presented as a reflection of collective and individual past beliefs and assumptions. But it's seen as more malleable and responsive to consciousness than we typically believe.
So change your self-concept, change your dominant state.
And the universe accommodates. It reshapes your experience. As he thinketh in his heart, so is he, is presented as a cosmic law. The inner state is the cause, the outer world is the effect. Change the cause, the effect changes.
Again, immense responsibility, but also immense power.
It truly is.
If we are this infinite creative power, why are there limitations and challenges in life? Why isn't everything just perfect all the time?
That's a great question. The source suggests this is part of the purpose of earthly existence. Experience and expression. Challenges aren't punishments or signs you're doing it wrong. They're opportunities.
Opportunities for what?
For growth, expansion, and self-realization. To remember who you truly are in the face of seeming limitation. See them not as obstacles to overcome by force, but as invitations to express your divine nature more fully.
So shift perspective from, why is this happening to me?
To what aspect of my divine nature am I called to express through this situation? Courage, resilience, love, understanding. Align with the flow of life, learn the lessons, receive the blessings inherent in every experience.
It all circles back to that core idea. You are not separate from creative power. You are that power individualized.
Exactly. The entire universe exists within you as a projection or expression of your consciousness. Grasping this truth makes you a conscious co-creator of your reality.
You are not just your body, your thoughts, or your emotions.
You are consciousness itself, the awareness that animates all creation. Realizing this means starting to see the divine in everything and everyone, recognizing that fundamental unity.
Which naturally gives rise to love, compassion, understanding.
Yes, and this doesn't mean individuality doesn't matter. It doesn't mean we all become indistinct blobs. Quite the opposite.
How so?
Your unique individual expression is how the infinite experiences form. Your unique perspective, talents, experiences are vital parts of the cosmic dance. They're incredibly valuable.
So individuality is valuable, but it's not who you fundamentally are at the core.
Right. The key is to enjoy your individual expression zestfully, like an actor fully embodying a role, while always remembering your true nature, the infinite consciousness playing the part.
This balanced perspective allows you to engage fully with life.
Without crippling attachment to outcomes. The joy is in the expression and expansion itself, not just in achieving specific goals.
And how does this affect relationships?
They transform. When you see others as expressions of divine consciousness, you naturally treat them with more respect and kindness. There's no need to manipulate or control, because you realize their well-being is inseparable from your own. It's the basis of true, unconditional love.
And living from this expanded state, synchronicities increase. Things just seem to line up.
That's often reported. You're aligning with the universal intelligence, seeing the interconnectedness, flowing with life more easily.
This teaching is really meant to be lived daily, isn't it? Not just something to think about theoretically.
Absolutely. It's about embodying this understanding in your thoughts, words, and actions. Consciously questioning those habitual limiting thoughts, I can't, I'm not good enough.
And choosing thoughts that align with your infinite nature instead.
Yes. Seeing yourself and others through the eyes of your higher self, recognizing the divine spark within. Engaging in activities that help you connect with that feeling, meditation, creativity, nature, using them as doorways back to that knowing.
The journey is self-realization, remembering what you've always been.
Exactly. Not evolving to perfection, but realizing you are a perfect consciousness now. The journey is simply unveiling the veils of illusion that obscured that truth. As you live from this understanding, life naturally transforms. Perceived challenges often dissolve or are met differently. Inner wisdom guides you more clearly.
And maybe the most beautiful transformation is in your relationship with yourself.
Yes. Deeper kindness and compassion for yourself. A greater appreciation for simple joys, seeing every moment as the miracle it is.
So the invitation is to take this profound understanding into daily life right now.
To know you are not limited by your past, your circumstances, or the opinions of others. Embrace this truth and live from it fully. There are no limits when you are living from your divine nature. You are the creator of your experience.
Write your life boldly. Live fully.
Go forth in the knowledge of your true nature. You are infinitely more than you think. You are the substance of God. Live from this truth and miracles unfold. The kingdom of heaven is within, not a place to get to, but a state of consciousness to be realized and expressed. Claim your divine inheritance.
Contemplate this. Embody this. You are not what you think you are, but infinite being. Know it, live it, transform.
Yeah.
Finally, the Source brings all these concepts together with this really evocative idea of shifting realities, painting a picture of life as like an infinite tapestry.
An infinite tapestry of potential realities, all existing simultaneously. Right now.
And you as consciousness are the master weaver, moving between these realities with your thoughts, beliefs, assumptions.
That's the analogy you use. You
Yeah.
select the reality you experience by the state you occupy.
Okay, if I'm doing this maybe unconsciously most of the time, how do I know when I've consciously shifted to a different potential reality? The Source lists some signs, doesn't it?
Yes, and it emphasizes these are natural expressions, not things to anxiously monitor or tick off a checklist. But yeah, one sign is a sudden, inexplicable shift in your emotional state.
Like feeling lighter, more joyful.
Yeah, or a deep sense of peace that seems to come from nowhere. This is presented as a reflection of tuning into a new reality that's resonating at a higher, more harmonious frequency. That feeling of optimism you can't quite explain.
Subtle environmental changes are another sign, like suddenly hitting all green lights or finding perfect parking spots.
Right. The Source frames these not just as random coincidence, but as small manifestations. The universe, your outer consciousness, conspiring in your favor because you've shifted your inner state. Little confirmations.
Relationships transforming is a key sign too.
Yeah, people who once irritated you suddenly become more tolerable, even pleasant. Conflicts resolve with surprising ease. By vibrating at a frequency of love, acceptance, or understanding inwardly, others respond in kind because they were reflecting your state back to you. Harmony and respect become more the norm.
Physical body changes are included too. That's interesting.
Yes, things like chronic ailments easing up, having more energy, sleeping more soundly. Health and vitality are seen as your natural state, and your body aligns with the perfection you allow yourself to experience by occupying that state in consciousness.
A newfound sense of synchronicity is a big one.
Definitely. Thinking of someone they call moments later, needing a specific piece of information, and it just appears easily. This is the universe responding directly to your thoughts and desires, confirming your alignment with a reality where things flow smoothly.
A shift in the perception of time is mentioned as well.
Yeah, days seeming to flow more smoothly, less rushing around, yet accomplishing more with less stress. It suggests you've shifted to a reality where time feels abundant, where you're always in the right place at the right time.
Dreams becoming more vivid and meaningful.
Yes, perhaps offering insights, prophetic glimpses, or even solutions to problems upon waking. The veil between the conscious and subconscious thins as you raise your frequency, allowing access to infinite wisdom.
And a newfound sense of purpose and direction. Goals feel more reachable.
Right. You start taking inspired action more confidently, without the usual doubt or fear holding you back. You're aligning with your true purpose, and the universe supports you in this new reality.
And the most profound sign is described as that fundamental shift in your sense of self.
Yeah. You no longer identify solely with your body, your history, your roles. You start to recognize yourself as the vast, infinite being capable of experiencing any reality. This expanded self is presented as the true you that was always there, beneath the surface identity.
Hearing this information itself, even considering these ideas, is suggested as a sign that you've already begun to shift, maybe subtly.
Yes, the very fact that this resonates with you could be an indicator. So how do you consciously create these shifts?
Right. How do you do it deliberately?
Through imagination and unwavering faith in the reality of your desires now. Imagination isn't creating something brand new out of nothing.
It's tuning into a reality that already exists.
Within that infinite tapestry of potential, it's already there.
So the task isn't to make a reality, but to select one. To accept, feel, and live from one that already is.
Exactly. Choose a desire. Close your eyes. Imagine it fulfilled. See it, feel it, taste it, hear it, touch it. Make it as vivid and real as possible inwardly. Now.
And then persist in that imaginal act.
Yes. Dwelling in the feeling of the wish fulfilled consistently until it becomes your dominant feeling state. Become the person you would be if that desire were already a fact in your outer world. Live from that state.
And persisting in that state is what leads to noticing the signs, the confirmations.
Yes, the signs, the emotional shifts, the changes in your environment, the synchronicities are confirmations that you have successfully shifted your inner state and the outer world is beginning to conform. But the source cautions against anxiously monitoring for signs.
Don't look for them.
Well, don't wait for them anxiously. Just persist in the feeling, live from the end, and the signs will appear naturally as evidence, as byproducts.
Time is no barrier in imagination. You can have it instantly there, but the outer world takes time to reflect. Is that the idea?
Precisely. In imagination, you can be or have anything instantly. The moment you truly accept and feel the imagined state as real inwardly, the shift has occurred in consciousness. The outer world then takes its own time to manifest that inner change, like a seed growing underground before it sprouts. But the cause has been set in motion.
And the mechanics of how this happens is rooted in the nature of consciousness itself, that core principle again.
Yes, you are an infinite spiritual being having a temporary physical experience. Consciousness is the only reality. The outer world is not separate from you. It exists within your consciousness. The entire universe, in this view, exists in your consciousness.
So if I shift my consciousness through imagination and feeling, I am literally shifting my universe, the one I experience.
That's the claim. The outer world conforms to your inner assumptions because it is you extended, pushed out. Grasping this truth is understanding the immense power you wield.
It sounds almost scary, that level of power.
Yeah, the source acknowledges that, but says don't let this power frighten you. It's your natural state. You've always wielded it, often unconsciously. Now you're just learning to direct it consciously.
What about doubts or fears that pop up when trying to do this? This is silly, this won't work.
Totally natural. They are old beliefs resisting the new state. Parts of the old reality being left behind. Don't fight them.
What do you do then?
Observe them, acknowledge them without judgment. Okay, there's that doubt again. And gently return your attention to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Persistence in the desired state is key. It naturally dissolves the doubts and fears over time as the new state becomes more dominant.
So shifting is not about forcing change or struggling against reality.
No, quite the opposite. It's about allowing yourself to be who you truly are, to experience the abundance, joy, and freedom that are your birthright. It's not creating something brand new that never existed. It's allowing your true infinite self to express more fully in your experience.
And as you continue the practice, your desires might even change. That's okay.
Yes, absolutely. As you shift and expand your consciousness, your desires may naturally evolve, reflecting that expansion. This is also presented as a positive sign of the shift happening.
Shifting is a continuous unfolding then. not a final destination.
An eternal journey of self-discovery and expression. The source suggests there's no ultimate destination or single perfect reality to reach. Each reality is perfect in itself, an expression of your infinite being. The joy is in experiencing each reality, knowing you have the power to shift.
And as you become more adept at this, your experience changes even more profoundly, maybe feels less solid.
Yes. Boundaries can seem to blur. You might sense multiple realities simultaneously, feel a deep interconnectedness with all things. This can be exhilarating, maybe challenging sometimes too. Navigating with ease, but also growing responsibility.
But you're always supported.
Always supported by your higher self, your infinite intelligence. Trust your guidance, your intuition.
As consciousness shifts and expands, your sense of identity changes fundamentally, less defined by the temporary stuff.
Yes, less defined by history or body or roles. More identified with the awareness observing these temporary experiences, that unchanging consciousness that flows through all the shifts.
This expanded self isn't a loss of self, but a gain.
A huge gain. Discovering the infinite, eternal, true self you've always been, this brings a deep peace and security that isn't dependent on outer circumstances. All realities are just waves on the ocean of consciousness. The waves are unique experiences, but the ocean each day is not limited by any single wave.
And purpose can shift, too, from personal gain towards service.
Often, yes. From a primary focus on personal gain, purpose can naturally shift towards serving others, helping them awaken to their own true nature. As others awaken, the collective reality transforms. Service flows naturally from the knowing of oneness.
So wrapping this all up, what does this really mean for us? This deep dive into your sources suggests a truly powerful, maybe even revolutionary idea.
That your consciousness isn't just a passive observer watching the show, it's the active creator of the show, your reality.
It's about understanding that your imagination isn't just fantasy. It is that creative power, God's power within you, and the outer world is simply reflecting your inner state, your core assumptions.
Yeah. And manifestation isn't about struggling to get things you want from an external world that seems separate. It's about being the person who already has them, occupying that state in consciousness.
And allowing the outer world to catch up to your inner reality.
It also invites us to reconsider delays not necessarily as denials, but potentially as divine preparation unfolding in perfect timing.
Thank you for joining us again today, entrepreneurs and business networkers. But wait, there's more. Listen to this short word from our sponsor, engagement. That's the secret behind email inbox headliners. Networkers, I gotta ask you, are you sending out emails or not? No? You need to be checking in and following up. Then let me ask you this. Why do you think Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, Marie Forleo, and Kim Commando and more all send emails? Because folks, no matter what you think of email, like it or not, email works. It will work for you too, if you're serious about networking, growing your influence, and building real relationships. You need to be following up right away. I'm Mike Hayes, founder of Cross Group Networking Strategy Training to grow all groups. I host podcast listening courses on the AI Super Campus, and I'm a longtime media veteran, starting with NBC TV and radio networks in New York. I've interviewed and studied the world's greatest communicators, including people who have become presidents of the United States. And right now, the United States government has launched the $500 billion AI communication movement. Whether you realize it or not, you're already involved. That's why I chose Mail Softly. Mail Softly is the AI-powered email marketing platform that makes it easy to create follow-ups that get read, get clicks, and get results. With Mail Softly, you get AI-generated emails that capture attention and convert. You get a drag-and-drop editor. So even if you're not a designer, you can create great, stunning emails in minutes. You get powerful automation that keeps your audience engaged 24/7. And you get advanced analytics, so you know exactly what's working and what's not. And that's why I use it. And right now, for a limited time, when you sign up for Mail Softly, even the free account, you'll get exclusive email training from the AI Super Campus. I've interviewed the AI inbox headliners from Oprah Winfrey and Tony Robbins, and I've analyzed the podcasting powerhouses of today, like Mel Robbins and Joe Rogan. And so I've developed one-of-a-kind podcast listening courses to teach you their AI student-teacher mindset. They learn from others and they teach. You too can learn how to practice podcast listening with my Mail Softly messages right in your inbox, free, so you can craft emails that connect, convert, and create lasting impact. And don't forget the best part, it's absolutely free. Just sign up for Mail Softly today, and this exclusive training is yours, no strings attached. Just click the link right below this video right now and start transforming your emails into powerful AI-driven engagement tools. Don't let your emails go unread. Make them work for you with Mail Softly and the AI Super Campus training. I'm Mike Hayes.